Welcome in, everybody, as I put my pen and paper down here for a minute to put together the supplementary piece of value stacks, which is the piece that we do on bigger slates where we target a few of the lines that we're really looking towards and some of the value plays to help you round out your lineups. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Chapadong. I'm at Chapadong out on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get this type of information for free. Obviously, the goal is to turn you into a VIP inside the DFS army and realize that you can't do it alone. You need the tools. You need the coaching. You need a lot of this deeper discussion that we can't share out here in real time. Now, hockey's a volatile sport. It tends to really tease you into thinking you're better than you are. Believe me, everybody goes through downswings. Everybody goes through hot streaks. Fact of the matter is, you need the coaching. You need the discussion to really hammer out some of these plays. You also need tool sheets like this bad boy here, this pretty little colors that shows you things like the record over the season in the last 21 days and shows trends. You can only get that as a VIP inside the DFS Army. Those of you that know, I'm a left-wing lock guy. I like to sort through last 3 games, last 10 games, and look for hot production offenses, both goals for and goals against, and figure out where the offense is coming from. So rest assured that I did that for you today. Looking at value plays, you know, if you follow me, you know that I go to RotoGrinders for that, Skater Stats, go by 4 weeks, sort by salary, and drill all the way down to everybody they got, and I start scrolling up looking for value plays. So there's absolutely no coincidence that Trevor Lewis found my sheet today. It's absolutely no coincidence if we scroll up more that, you know, Bouvier found my sheet today. You know, Comfort found my sheet today. Well, Bouvier was already mentioned in the article. Soderberg, another decent play. These are value plays that you can be targeting. And you can also look into some of these other guys that are scoring, say, you know, 10 points, almost close to 10 points. You know, John Moore and Scandella maybe are guys that you're after today. I like to go all the way up, though, and start finding who's the first blue guy. Provorov. Provorov's going to be in an okay spot. I mean, if he hasn't cooled off with the Gospear thing coming back, but I'm not really on Philadelphia today. So let's kind of make this quick today. Let's jump in and show you who I like and why. We'll roll game by game really, really quick. Washington and New Jersey, other than Holtby, really not on it. The Washington 3 line has actually been doing the damage in this one. Dallas and Columbus, not on anybody here either. Scheduled to play to the under fairly strongly, and I believe that. I do always like Klingberg, though. Dude is just a beast, and you'll see why if you read the article that I wrote or that I'm putting out with this video. Toronto and Philadelphia. Toronto gave up a ton of shots. That favors Philadelphia. But Philadelphia isn't dinging the radar today as one of the top lines to look at. I don't know why. Couturier and Guerreau can always be considered. They're leading the league in assists and points and whatever else. They're 2 of the top 10 guys. So day in and day out, they're going to find themselves in good spots, and they're going to get their points. So why we're not on them as much, I don't really know. I certainly couldn't fault you if you did. The game everybody's going to be focused on is Boston and New York. Boston's coming off the back end of a back-to-back. I don't really know why, if that back end is going to bother anybody or not, because New York gives up tons of goals, tons of DFS points. They're a team you should be targeting every night regardless. I think Boston could play 4 games in 4 nights and a doubleheader on that 5th night, and I'd still probably play them against the New York Islanders because the New York Islanders defense for DFS purposes has just proven that bad. Now, who do we target in this line? Well, just about anybody, to be honest with you. Boston 2's doing the damage right now. And that power play unit, the defensive pairing of Chara and McAvoy's been putting the results in, and Boston 1's always a great play. It's just that Boston 2 is so much cheaper, and for what you get, it allows you to do other things throughout the night. If you look at how this game might line up, the Tavares line might go up against this Boston 1, and as luck would have it, not only is the New York Islanders 2 line doing their scoring, it's also the line that's giving up the goals. So what we're after here is the shootout between these 2 lines. If you want to run a sneaky game stack them both. You could probably afford to do so. Bouvier, you saw, was a value play. Barzal's been on a tear. Eberle's been okay. And then down here, the second defensive pairing of Pelech and Aho. Aho has been all right. Now, Pelech may not have a lot of exposure to the power play 1, but who the hell cares? Because Leddy hadn't been doing crap with his time either, and Aho's been kind of, I think he had 1 good game in the past 3 or 4, but not much. It's actually Pelech that's been doing the damage. If you look, he's got 20 points here and then a bunch of 4 to 6 with some 10s. Now, granted, that might not really make you excited, but for 3,500, it ain't bad. So you might run him up here with this 2, run it back with a little bit over here, and you might have yourself something to work with tonight should this game go off. We've got a lot of games to pick from tonight, so you really should spread out. If you're going to run a little higher portion of your bankroll, you really want to spread this out. You don't want to just target Boston or just target New York. You want to get pieces of everything, because this game, just like any other hockey game, could absolutely dud out. You don't want to be caught with your pants down when that happens. St. Louis and Ottawa is an interesting matchup. They just played a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, Ottawa really kind of took St. Louis to the woodshed in that one. And it was going into the bye. I don't really know exactly what St. Louis was how they were rolling. I know they've really concentrated on righting the ship. So for Ottawa, I don't really like a lot of their plays tonight, although I can see them blowing up again. I don't necessarily think the odds are in favor of doing so. Say you ran that 100 times. I don't think but 30 times maybe it's going to blow up for you. So, that's a decent percentage, but it isn't going to happen any 60, 70, 80% of the time. St. Louis is a defensive-minded team, and they've been focusing on shot suppression and goal suppression lately because it's the only way they can win without their offense really clicking along. Now, the issue with the offense is there are signs. If you watch the Toronto game, they got 40 some odd shots in regulation, and on top of that, golly, must have had a dozen quality scoring chances. The team's doing the damage, or the line doing the damage to this top line over the last 3 games has been actually producing a little bit. So if a team or if a line is going to blow up tonight, I think it's the St. Louis 1, and I think you've got yourself a good shot at it, because the Ottawa 1 and the Ottawa 2 and this top defensive pair has been leaky as all hell. St. Louis 1 is going to be matching up against here, one of these 2 lines. Both of them are leaky, so it puts St. Louis 1 in a good spot. It would put St. Louis 2 in a good spot if they were doing any results-oriented goal scoring at all, and they're not. So in that case, you really need to be focused on that top line. Tarasenko's a hat trick waiting to happen, just like an Ovechkin type. So, could be his night. Who knows? The stars are lining up. Actually, my top line tonight, I can't believe I'm saying that, because they're not scoring a lot of goals over the course of the last, say, 5, 10, 20 games. It's just that they're in a really, really nice little spot tonight, and they could be coming out of their funk if they've had their bye week and they've put all their practice and stuff in. As far as Buffalo and New York, God, you could argue anyone in these games, but I don't really like the game, to be honest with you. Probably means New York will blow up today, but I don't see it happening. If anything, I see New York 1 being very leaky and putting Buffalo in a pretty good spot, whether it be the 1 or the 2. If you can find the guys that are producing in that line, they're not showing up over the last 3 to 10 games as being really hot. So therefore, even though the New York defense has been bad, I don't think that the Buffalo offense can take advantage. There's your second game of the night, Vegas and Tampa Bay. Vegas 1 is one of the best, if not the best, scoring lines in all of NHL, but they've cooled off lately. I don't know what that means, because it's not exactly like Tampa Bay plays stellar defense, but they don't play bad defense. Can they squelch that Vegas line? I don't know. It'll certainly be their focus. Fleury and Vasilevsky are usually goalies that I kind of like to look at and target, but tonight, no can do, because you've got 2 high-powered offenses. We all know Tampa Bay is a very high-powered offense. So if we're looking at lines to target, it would be the Vegas 1 and the Tampa Bay 2. The Tampa Bay defensive pairing is a little bit misleading because it had Hedman on it. Hedman's not the guy anymore because he got hurt. Sergachev's going to be the guy that's going to fill in for him and stay on that second line. So this becomes a nice little line to run. You take the 2 with Sergachev, and now what you've got is exposure to the power play 2 with Tyler Johnson, but you've got exposure to the power play 1 with Sergachev and these 2 guys, Point and Palat. The beauty of Point and Palat is not only are they running rather hot, they get you cheap exposure on the power play up here to Stamkos and Kucherov should they have big power play nights or games tonight. And that's something that we're trying to focus on, is getting multiple lines of exposure to multiple ways to score goals and having it all tie in somehow and correlate. That's hockey. And then when it increases your chances of things going your way. You need to be thinking like that instead of just, hey, I like New Jersey tonight, I'll stack the 1. No. If you've got access to multiple lines of scoring, whether it be through the power play or the scoring lines, you need to take advantage of that, because now, as long as the game blows up, you've got significant pieces within that game, and then with a little bit of luck, it all lines up for you, and boom, shoots you right to the top of the leaderboard. That's what we're hoping out of this power play, or this second line tonight. We're hoping the power play 1 blows up and we get pieces of it with Point and Palat, but if it doesn't, we hope that they match up against that first line of Vegas. They get out there, and then we're able to catch some of the leakiness. I'm sorry, the Vegas 2 is the leaky line, so we're hoping that the 2 of Tampa Bay runs up against the 2 of Vegas. Vegas 2 is the leaky line. The first line of defensive pairing has been pretty bad too. Now down here on the Vegas or the Tampa Bay line, there's not a lot of leaking going on, so Vegas 1's just going to have to do the damage against a line that's defensively putting up pretty decent numbers as far as goal suppression is concerned. If you look back in the Value Stacks article, when we get down here to Tampa Bay, I give you a lot of their little bitty numbers here, and so I'll run them down for you again. 13.92 fantasy points per game over his last 5. 1 goal, 3 assists, 14 shots. Not bad for 6K. Palat, 12.16 points per game over his last 5. That's no goals, but it's 4 assists and 15 shots. Not bad for 5,400. Tyler Johnson's your scoring punch on this line. He's the goal producer. But at 6,500, you need to see what do you get out of it. Well, you've been getting over the last 5 games 20.16 fantasy points per game. 4 goals, 2 assists, 18 shots. I'm telling you, that is damage. Because if you add them all up, this line has produced 5 goals, 9 assists, and 47 shots on goal. 47 shots on goal coming out of this line right here. And they're going up against a leaky Vegas too. So this is why they're one of my favorite stacks tonight. You load them up with little Sergachev, and now you've got something cooking again. Now, if we roll down to Arizona and Nashville, I believe that's our next game. Arizona, Ranta's been terrible. Pekka-Rinne's been great. He's my goalie of choice tonight. The minus 200 has nothing to do with it, but you can see why it is a minus 200. When you look at Nashville, I don't know what kind of scoring they're going to do, but on the road, Arizona has not been good. Granted, they haven't been good at home either. Doesn't matter much. I'm not on this game a ton. I do like Subban. He's typically a pretty good defenseman, but I like Klingberg more. The Nashville offense is going up against, if you can draw, the real leaky line has been this Arizona 4. Arizona 3 and 4 have actually been doing their scoring. So if you can see that this is leaky, then they might make a sneaky play. But I mean, it's a super big GPP play. It's not something I would run in anything with less than 5,000 players in it, because it just doesn't make a ton of sense getting 10 and 12 minutes a game. And it's just not a very attractive game. It is attractive for the win, but hopefully it's going to go 2-1, or maybe Pekka-Rinne pitches a shutout. The Sharks and Colorado Avalanche, this is a game that has a little bit of sneaky to it. San Jose 1 has been doing the scoring. Colorado 1 has been giving it up like your sister. Colorado 1 has also been doing the scoring, and the defensive 2 pairing down here of Braun and Vlasic has been giving up the goals. So there's not a lot in terms of the wings to target and the frontline stuff to target. You can always run Burns. He's, even at 7,400, probably a value play as consistent as he's been. But there is some punch here to be used in tournaments, but it's not matching up really well against leaky offenses or leaky defenses to really give you the extra boost of confidence that you might need. Pittsburgh's on the second end of their back-to-back. The Pittsburgh 2 line's been doing the scoring here. They had another good night last night, I believe, on the power play. I know Sidney Crosby's been playing better lately, but they're just surrounding him with shit. This is the line down here that I'd be looking at, to be honest with you. I don't know where Sheary and Gensel, why these guys aren't lined up like they were last year. I don't know if they're trying to even all their crap out or what, but Pittsburgh needs to get with the program. LA may not be the place to do it. They're on the front end of their back-to-back, and they're a defensive-minded team. When you look down, though, at some of these players, what is this? Trevor Lewis is on the value sheet. He's been playing very, very well lately. Correlates with Pearson, but also correlates a little bit with Gaborik. And it just depends on what you want to do with this. It's not something that I want to focus on. Quick, I guess, is in play. But Pittsburgh can score with the best of them, so it doesn't feel like a great night for him either. So really what you've got is a lot of different ways to go. Your core should come out of Vegas and Tampa Bay. Your core should come out of Boston and New York. If you run the 2s down here, whichever side you pick, it does allow you to grab the 1 here and the 2 here with some defense. So those are kind of the places most people are going to go. Maybe try and get you some St. Louis 1 exposure just in case. Hopefully you get a lot out of this type of stuff. It's just a quick rundown, a little bit of who to target, things we can't mention in the articles. Hopefully that compels you to become a member inside the DFS Army VIP program, dfsarmy.com. And use code CHOP, C-H-O-P, for a 10% discount because friends don't let friends pay retail. Come back and see us again here in a couple of days on these bigger slates. We'll go more this way. On the smaller slates, we'll go more game-by-game breakdown in the written article. 15 minutes in, out. See you when we see you. Peace.